What's up, YouTube? It's Angel back with the Samurai content. Now, I know before we even get into it, you guys are wondering what's going on with the Samurai, what's the holdup, when are you going to drop another video? And to be honest, I've been really busy with a list of things. Life's been busy and, you got to do what you got to do, right? So I'm going to walk out there to where the Samurai is at and show you guys what we've done so far and what we have left on it. Now, it's really not much left to it. There's a lot of corrections that I've done ever since, I think, part 2. There were some mistakes I corrected. We're not going to be working on it today. We're just going to be showing you what we have done so far, what we're waiting on, and, kind of explain to you guys what's been taking so long. And there she is in all her glory. Now, before we jump into this, I want to show you guys a couple things that we've been working on ever since. I bought this car a couple months ago, bad transmission. I've always wanted one of these things, so as soon as I saw it, I had to go hop on it. Now, as you can imagine, besides funds, it definitely takes, some time out of your week to repair. I bought it with a bad transmission, so we had to hunt down the transmission. We did valve covers on it. I forgot what else we dumped to this thing, but we've done a couple things to this car. Driving it for maybe like 2 months now. I really enjoy it, but this thing has been taking some time away from this. Now, mainly because I've been kind of frustrated with this, waiting on the parts and dealing with people and a bunch of crap, so I kind of took my mind off this and just moved on. Now, another thing that we picked up was this 6.0. I don't know if you guys saw the Turbo Civic on last video. I had a 9th gen Turbo Honda Civic in 2012. I ended up trading for a bulletproof 6.0. It's full drive, shifter on the floor, so, the good stuff. Now, we also picked up this thing, did a whole motor on it. Bunch of stuff. This car's ready to go, new AC system. So we've been buying and selling cars, flipping cars, so that's been taking a little bit of our time, but you got to do what you got to do to make money, right? So I don't know if I've shown you guys before or not, but I recently purchased this tow truck several months ago. Before this, I picked this thing up with that. I'd say, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. So this took a significant amount of funds, not just to purchase, but I had to do some repairs on it right off the bat. But it is a moneymaker. It was something that I couldn't choose to work on the Samurai over buying something that's gonna be beneficial to my business, and not only to my business, but it's a business within itself. So this is the new purchase. This is the new baby. The 7.3 I had, which again, I don't know if you guys saw it or not. I think it's in some of the shorts in my channel. It was a 7.3 on 42s, Dana 60s. I sold that, bought this, got the 6.0 now to replace the 7.3. Now, I'm not a huge fan of 6.0s, but we'll see how it turns out with it being bulletproof. Now, let's hop into the Samurai, which is what you guys are here for. Show you guys the interior. It is a mess. I got stuff everywhere. We're not hiding nothing here. Everything it's a mess. Now, the dash I haven't put in all the way because I do want to run the Nano and the rest of the wiring to the Fuel Tech, so I haven't secured this. This is also not on. I forgot why it's not on. I think I need to tap into the ignition for the Fuel Tech. But yeah, interior, nothing's changed. No updates there. Now, on the outside, we got a used bumper that I got off of a local buddy with another Samurai. He made his own custom bumper. He's onto cool guy stuff with the Toyota axles and everything. So something about his shackle setup was hitting the bumper and whatnot. So he let me get this for a couple $100. Shout out to him. That was a good buy. Then I went to Harbor Freight, got me a 9500. I had a 5500, which is more than plenty for this thing. But man, it just looked so tiny in this bumper that personally, I just to fill the gap, I had to go buy a 95. Now, besides that, on the exterior, I think that's all I've done on the outside of it. We're going to go ahead and get under it now. Let me grab the creeper. We'll get under it and show you guys what we've gotten done so far. Give me 1 second. All right, so we're about to get under the Samurai and show you guys the fuel system setup that I've had done on it. Let's get under here real quick. Where is it? There it is. Let me set this light up so you guys can see. All right, so main reason why I don't have any footage of the fuel system installation is because I didn't actually do the installation myself. I've been super busy with work, flips, personal buys, and projects that I actually had somebody come out and do it while I was working. But I'm going to flip the camera around and show you guys what they did. That way you guys can copy paste, do whatever you need to do. I'm sure there's plenty of other ways to do this, but this is the easiest, simplest way that, you know, we could think of. So, all right, so we got an AEM inline pump. Now it is tapped in with AN line, clamped right onto the factory line that's coming out of the tank. Then AN all the way to the front instead of tapping into the stock line. It's going to be an independent AN all the way forward with the harness, and this is just a universal clamp to the body or to the frame, you know, just to secure the pump. That ain't going nowhere. So follow the line all the way forward. Here, let me get the light moved to harness all the way forward, all the way up to the fuel rail. Now, let me hop up to the top, pop the hood, and show you guys how that looks like at the top. Alright. Alright. Grab a light. We got our feed line coming up, which is the one on the left-hand side right there. It comes right up to the front of the rail, and then from the rail to the fuel pressure regulator, and then from the fuel pressure regulator to the return line. So fairly simple fuel system. Everything's pretty affordable. You can get that off Amazon or eBay for the fuel pressure regulator. I'm not sure if I showed you guys the fuel rail and injectors installed last time, but there you have them. I believe these are 850cc, 85 compatible, so we're ready for that if we wanted to run it on E. And the fuel rail is a D16 fuel rail, which is for the intake that we are running on this. That's pretty much it for the fuel system. You have your fuel pressure sensor up here, which is going to be a Honda sensor tapped into for the fuel tech. What else have we done? Oh, well, the winch install, we did that. Got that going on. That's operational. That's working. We got the drain on, which I don't think last time we had a drain on, but we have a drain on now. Now let's move on to the electrical. I believe it was the second video I was showing you guys how I was heat wrapping the wires straight from the distributor. Now I was misguided. That is for the Honda ECM setup, which we're not doing that. Obviously, we're going with Fuel Tech. So Fuel Tech does require you to have some smart coils, which is what we did. The wiring harness was already wired for it, so all I had to do was buy some smart coils. Bought a bracket, a stackable bracket, instead of having them side by side. There's really not space in the engine bay for it to look neatly side by side, and wanted them as high as possible in the engine bay in case they get wet or recross some water or anything like that. So we put them against the firewall here. Now we have some wires off of O'Reilly's. You can go at any auto parts store, cut to length, and then we went the long route just to keep it off of the top of the engine. It's just a cleaner look in my opinion, and makes it easier to work on without having to unplug anything. So we did that. Now we will be getting rid of this ignition coil, obviously, and I will be getting rid of that distributor. I'm just waiting on a email response from a company that I believe they're out of South America or Central America. They make you a custom distributor, which is essentially not a distributor anymore. It would be your cam positioning sensor at the top rather than at the bottom. The other solution would be doing it at the crank pulley, and it'll have teeth on it. Then you can do a bracket, bolts right there. Look at that, the spider webs. I haven't worked on it in a little bit, but you would have a bracket that goes right there, and then you have a cam sensor kind of just sitting there and reading the teeth. But there has been some reports of people that off-road a lot, get pebbles on it or something like that, and then it shuts off clearly, you know, since it's not reading correctly. So we want to avoid that. That would have been the quicker route. I could have had that probably 2 months, 3 months ago, but I decided against that. I did some research, and like I said, I found a Central America or South America. I'm not really sure where they're from, but they're making some custom stuff to be able to get your crank positioning sensor from the top instead of the bottom, which is what we're going to be doing next video. I'm not going to drop another video up until I do that. That way I can wire everything in, show you guys what's going on, and hopefully power up the Fuel Tech. Now, I still do have to get a pipe fabricated from the turbo to the snorkel, because this is a purpose-built Samurai. We will be using it. We will be off-roading it. We will be crossing water with it. You know, I'll clean up the wiring down here a little bit more. But essentially, I mean, that's pretty much all I really have left. You know, cover stuff up like that. tap into the blow-off valve, you know, get a catch can, get a couple plugs for here, little stuff like that, get a base map, get it running. That's what we have so far. Really, it's just the fuel system, the winch, and the smart coils that we've done ever since the last time, I believe, and corrected the whole spark plug wire situation there. But besides that, I really haven't done much else to it. It's really just been sitting here. I have to do front wheel bearings to it, so I took that apart. I haven't had time to mess with it anymore. The selectors or the lockers, whatever you guys want to call them, as you can see, they were in rough shape. I mean, I wheeled this thing hard when it was NA, and I kind of neglected the maintenance on it. So, you know, this is the price you pay. But we have new ones of those, so we're going to be replacing those with brand new ones. We're going to do the front wheel bearings, new drag link, which is completely destroyed. And that's pretty much it, man, for the outside. I got to wire up these tail lights and base map. Let's go, man. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to lie, I kind of did neglect it for 2-3 months before I did the research on the crank positioning sensor, since I definitely knew that I didn't want to do the crank pulley solution. I got frustrated. I went out and I bought a side-by-side, and you know, to try to have some fun with that. And I think 2 days of me taking it out broke the side-by-side. So now the side-by-side is sitting at my buddy's shop, and I figured, well, I guess it's time to work on the Samurai. So we're back on working on the Samurai. I'm waiting on an email, I believe, mid-October from that company that I'm mentioning. Now, I don't want to give them a shout-out yet because I don't know if it's going to be a good or bad experience like I first did with EG Performance. EG Performance has the parts for anybody that's wondering where you can get the adapters and a kit. It would be EG Performance based out of Puerto Rico, but I gave them a shout-out a little too soon because they do have the parts, but the customer service sucks. So, and they're not very clear about, you know, what you do need, what you don't need. They just want you to spend the money at first. And then kind of when you have a problem, you call them and like, oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you that. And then, you know, you got to spend another $1,000 here, $1,000 there. So not giving this company a shout out up until I find out that, you know, that they're actually standing behind their product and their product works. So once I have that in, like I said, this is going to be mid-October before I get a response. And then it's made to order. If we do decide to go forward with this company, then next video will be dropping somewhere around mid-October, end of October. Hopefully we have a base map and something going on, and I'll record all that for you guys. But up until then, I'll see you guys next time. Sorry about the delay, but we're going to finish this thing up so that way you can turbo your Samurai as well. See you guys in the next video.